And for good reason, because she was secretly up to some strange behavior. When the poor man saw what it was, he turned pale instantly. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Marcus was having a pretty normal day before this bizarre woman showed up. He was watching the cameras, looking at cars passing by without any hiccup. But then a woman appeared on screen. She was not accompanied by a vehicle. She just walked into the frame on foot and stood weirdly still by the pump. Marcus squinted his eyes, trying to identify what the woman was doing. It wasn't normal to arrive on foot, and the way the woman was behaving added to his piqued interest. The lady looked around nervously multiple times like she didn't want to be seen. That's when Marcus spotted the small jerry can in her hand. There was something off about this woman, so Marcus decided to ignore the other cameras for a while and focus on what this woman was doing. It seemed like she was waiting for cars to fill up their tanks with gas. And once they had their fill, then she made her move. Marcus could see the first car leaving the station, and immediately after it was finished pumping gas, she rushed toward the pump that the car previously occupied. She is siphoning off the excess gasoline in the pump after a car is finished. Borscht does stay. Marcus shouted at the screen in surprise and anger. This type of behavior was a serious offense, and one that Marcus couldn't simply let happen. He felt the anger boil up in his body. He had people drive off without paying before, but most of the time it was because they just forgot to pay. But siphoning excess gas wasn't something you do accidentally. This was a deliberate crime, and that meant that Marcus had to intervene. He put down his pen and laced up his holster instead. The pump was only minutes away from his off-site security room, but once he got to the gas station, he was already too late. The mysterious woman had disappeared from view. Disappointed Marcus walked back to his security booth. He let a petty criminal take off with her prize, and that didn't feel good. But what he did not know was that the woman wasn't done yet, because just after he returned to his stationary post, the woman reappeared on his television prompter. He still had his gear at the ready, so that made him good to go instantly. But still, he was too late to catch the perpetrator in her stealing act. This game of cat and mouse occurred over 3 times, and every time Marcus was just slightly too late. He had to devise another plan. His constantly missing his target made the security guard fill up with anger. He knew he could not go back and repeatedly make the same mistake. That's why he decided to leave his off-site security booth and stake out the gas station itself. This time he would be right there in the action. Marcus grabbed a mobile monitor from the supply cabinet and connected it to the gas station grid. By doing so, he could monitor the entire situation from up close. He never had to use it before, but this was a special occasion. With the monitor in hand, he placed himself behind the station and waited. And it turned out that this plan of his was the best thing he could do, because after about an hour of waiting, it all came to fruition. He watched his monitor like a hawk, and eventually he saw the mysterious woman appear on screen again. And she was oblivious to his hidden location. She walked up to the gas pump to steal some more gasoline the pump, but this time Marcus was ready. He saw her coming and had all of his equipment with him from the start. He got on his feet, ready to strike at a moment noticed, but then he realized something. The woman froze for a moment as Marcus ran toward her. "Stop right there!" he screamed at her while running at full speed. It was an exhilarating moment for the security guard, who normally didn't do much running during his workday, but this arrest wasn't going to be an easy one. The gasoline-stealing female let out a small scream as she saw Marcus approaching, but his element of surprise was short-lived, because within seconds she detached her jerry can from the gas pump and started running the opposite way. It was time for a high-speed chase. Was Marcus ready for it? The woman held the jerry can under her right arm and started picking up the pace instantly. Before Marcus knew it, they both were in full sprint. The woman seemed to know the way and traversed the narrow urban streets surrounding the gas station, even though her outfit didn't make it seem like it. This woman was very fast. She ran at high speed through the narrow alleyways and was clearly very determined. But the heavy jerry can slowed her down just enough. Walking around with a full gallon of extra weight couldn't have been easy. Marcus noticed it too. She had a quick start, shooting away from the gas pump with quite a big head start on him, but he could clearly see that he was inching closer to her position. And it wasn't long before he was within throwing distance of the gas-stealing woman. The realization that he was gaining ground made Marcus even more determined to catch her. He let out a low-pitched scream and pushed himself even more. He didn't pay much attention to his surroundings anymore, nearly missing a couple of trash cans and some pedestrians. But he could almost smell her. But right before Marcus could grab the woman's collar, she ran into a seemingly abandoned lot. There were no cars parked there, and it was eerily quiet. Just the quick footsteps of the woman rushing over the concrete pavement. On the lot stood a singular tall building. That was her destination. The woman ran through the open doorway of the building, thinking she had made it. She did not realize how close Marcus was behind her, because she just focused on getting out of there as quickly as possible. So, thinking she was safe, she let herself breath for a moment. But then, unfortunately for her, this false sense of safety was shortly lived. Because right after she made her way through the doorway, the hand of the determined security guard grabbed her forearm, locking her in place. Marcus knew she wasn't getting away. Entering some building was not going to stop him this time. The mysterious woman clearly did not expect Marcus to find her this quickly and dropped the jerry can out of initial fright. Luckily for her, the lid was twisted down firmly, because else all the stealing of gasoline would have been for nothing. "What is going to happen now?" the woman asked Marcus. Marcus let out a short sigh and told the woman that he saw her multiple times today and that he was on to her from the start. He missed the bullet the first few times, but he now caught her red-handed. He saw her steal the gasoline and also caught everything on tape. After that, he explained to the woman that she was in big trouble. He was going to arrest her. But before he would do that, he demanded an explanation. "You are going to tell me right now why you siphoned all that extra gasoline. What is it all for?" Marcus said with a serious face. Marcus was expecting a snobby response after that demand, but to his surprise, he got the opposite reaction. The young woman started weeping softly and brushed away a tear with her free hand. The act of crying caught Marcus off guard, and he even loosened his grip because of it. You might expect the woman to run away again. Marcus, losing focus and loosening his grip, certainly gave her the opportunity to do so. But the woman tried another approach. She put her hand on his shoulder and asked Marcus to follow her. There was something he had to see. The woman's touch made Marcus shiver. He didn't expect this criminal to have such a gentle touch. It caught him off guard, but guarded he did remain. "What do you want me to see?" he asked her. Guided by the woman's hand, Marcus and the girl entered a large, dimly lit room inside the building. At first, it seemed empty, but Marcus soon realized it was far from that. Mattresses were scattered across the floor, surrounded by food cartons and a makeshift cooking setup made from empty cans. Shadows shifted, and dozens of people emerged, shy, dirty, and dressed in tattered clothes. The woman introduced herself as Amber and explained the heartbreaking situation. These homeless families had taken refuge in the building, the only place left for them after being abandoned by the city. Despite their pleas for shelter, the government ignored them. Amber's words softened Marcus's anger, replacing it with a deep sense of sympathy. Amber revealed the stolen gasoline was crucial. It powered a portable battery, providing light and heat for the families, especially during the cold nights. Marcus watched as the little girl refueled the battery, illuminating the room and the faces of the people struggling to survive. But Marcus still had questions. Why resort to theft? Amber explained that she had dedicated all her time and money to helping these families, even starting a foundation to provide food and supplies. However, her resources were stretched thin, and the immediate need for warmth left her with no choice. Marcus was conflicted. He couldn't ignore the theft, but also couldn't turn his back on these people's desperation. Determined to find a solution, he came up with an idea: a community drive at the gas station. This would allow locals to contribute and support the homeless families. The initiative quickly gained traction. Donations poured in, and within weeks, the community drive had raised enough funds to power the building for a year. The gas station became a hub of generosity, with Marcus pledging to keep the drive running for as long as necessary. As he looked at the growing support, he smiled and said, "Who knows where this could go? It's time they get a second chance at life." Let us know what you think about this story, and don't forget to share it with your friends. It might inspire them and brighten their day.